You were talking about if the size of Earth, if the Earth was the dot of an I in a book in regular print,
Yes.
that the Milky Way galaxy would be as large as the Earth itself.
Actually, a little bigger. Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, this is an interesting thing about science communication. You say that if the sun were the size of a dot of an I, and you got to remember, you can fit 1 million Earths inside the sun, right? This is a huge thing. So if that's the size of a dot of an I on text, then the galaxy would be the size of the Earth. That's when people's eyes get big and people respond to it.
So it's not just the Earth, it's the sun. So if the sun was the dot of an eye.
Yes, that's right. So let's make this clear. So if the sun were the size of a dot of an I on a page of text, so you could fit 1 million Earths inside that dot of an I, then the Milky Way galaxy would be bigger than the Earth. Yeah, I think
so if the Earth was the dot of an eye, then how big is the Milky Way galaxy? Because the sun is how many millions Earths?
Volume-wise, you could fit over 1 million Earths inside the sun. Yeah, yeah. The sun is about 800,000 miles across. You could fit about 110 Earths across it, the diameter.
We do those things where you show the differences between our sun and different stars,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
immense stars,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and you go bigger and bigger and bigger, and you get to the point where you're like, this is not working. I can't process this. It's too kooky.
There's nobody that can process it. I mean, one of the really kind of, the thing about sort of demystifying scientists is the idea that our brains somehow work any differently. And like we can visualize what a light year is, right? A light year is about 6 trillion miles, the distance light travels in a year. No, we're human beings. We get used to using the terms. We get used to using the numbers. But we've got the same brain as everybody else. Nobody can visualize what a galaxy really is. And you can take pictures of them. You can say the word galaxy, but people have no idea what monsters these are. And then with the James Webb Space Telescope, all of a sudden you're taking pictures of billions of them. And, they're right in front of your eyes. This is not something that you can argue about. It's an image. And you see these foggy hazes of stars, basically so many stars you can't see them individually. And that's real. And I mean, it still gives me goosebumps.
That's awesome. It gives me goosebumps too, but it's so cool that it gives it to you and you actually study it your whole life.
Oh, that's the whole point. I mean, working for NASA was a huge, huge honor. And I mean, all of us there are doing this. I mean, we were all science fiction fans. We all love imagination. That was the best thing about working at NASA was the joy and the teamwork and the camaraderie and the people that you're working with. That they think this is the best thing in the world to do.
Well, I mean, there's a real problem that we have where I think that cities and light pollution have really it's great that we have cities. It's wonderful. It's wonderful that we have all this electricity and that we can see things at nighttime. But boy, we have done ourselves a massive disservice by not being able to see the stars all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I think people have kind of lost the wonder of it when you're only looking at it as images on your phone, or when, the only time you get it is on vacation. Occasionally you look up in the sky, wow, look at all the stars here. It's different here. This is something that everyone should be absolutely blown away by. At night, you have a vision of the most spectacular thing any human being has ever seen ever. Just the Milky Way galaxy alone. It's nuts. It's crazy to think that those are all stars and that you can't count them. It's insane. There's so many of them, and it's above you every day, and we're just blase. We're just like so used to it. We're so dismissive of it. It doesn't mean anything. It's exciting when someone's excited by it, because I'm like, more people need to get the fuck away from the cities and just go see how crazy this is, that we're flying through space.
Yeah. It is profound. And to be that close, I mean, just looking up, you don't even need a telescope or a pair of binoculars, the presence of something so much larger than you. But I mean, if you've listened to some of my podcasts, that I think you know that the big deal for me is that you are such a part of this. You are such an intimate, intrinsic part of this. It's not we're separate from space. We look up and there's something separate from us. That's the story of us up there. The only way the universe makes atoms, the only way that makes, the chemicals all around us, the aluminum, the iron, the oxygen, the carbon, the phosphorus, everything that makes me up. The only thing in the universe that makes atoms is the interior of a star. It's the only place where nuclear fusion puts atoms together. So everything that you are, the story is up there. And, so you're not looking at something separate and distant. Astrophysics is the story of, the end of your nose, literally. I mean, we are part of this beautiful, bigger thing.
That's a weird concept. That's from that old song, we are stardust.
Yeah, we are golden. Got to
We're
get
a
ourselves back to the garden.
carbon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's real. That's what we are, and that's what all life is. And that's just a very strange thing for people to wrap their heads around, as we're sort of slowly getting a greater and greater understanding of the complexity of the universe itself, which is relatively recent in terms of human history. I mean, we really didn't know all what we know now because of the James Webb Telescope is so crazy, where they're seeing these galaxies. They're confusing. Like, why are they formed so early?
Oh yeah. Oh, I gave a talk about those just a few weeks ago. The red dots. Yes.
Yeah.
And they never let astronomers name anything, right? You're seeing something so dramatic, and they call it the little red dots, right? Or there's a storm on Jupiter that's 3 times the size of the Earth with 400-mile-an-hour winds, and they call it the red spot.
How come no one's allowed to name them?
Well, naming conventions, they're complex. So if you discover a comet, you get if you discover an asteroid, you get to name it. If you discover a comet, the comet is named after you. But anything else has to be done by international committee. And so, they because of that, things don't end up with very interesting names. They all end up with catalog numbers, basically phone numbers.
What do they call that weird hexagon on Jupiter? Is it a hexagon?
Saturn. The hexagon.
That's right.
I think they call that the hexagon on Saturn. They don't really the hexagonal storm. It's fantastic. You could fit about 2 Earths across that. And it's a hexagon jet stream, basically. You've got super fast moving winds around the pole of Saturn. And Saturn is so cold, the gas is so cold that there's almost no friction in the gas.